Right, so this is part two. I've kind of gone through and written out the instructions, but in case we need to troubleshoot anything, we'll just go through it together, right? So this is essentially some reports, like a bunch of stuff that I've been working on just a bit earlier. We'll erase all of this, all of these files and whatnot, and go through the process. So first things first, what we'll talk through today is how to set up your LLM, the tools that we're going to need, and how the applications will all run together. We will do a few different downloads together, and then we'll use them to make sure that they work. And then from there, we can do what our heart desires, right? Create AI agents and more. So first thing we want to do is make sure that we have a terminal open. Whatever terminal you use is fine. I use iTerm. We can download that together, but the one that comes with your Mac is fine. So we're going to make sure that our SSD is ours, right? It's going to ask our password. So my ownership is enabled, and then this stuff should already be, it should fail, but we're going to do it together anyway. And basically the reason for that is it's already set up. You can see it here, so that's why. So it's not going to change any of the files that I've got set up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the things that I have set up and go back through and set them up together. So first we'll stop all of our Ollamas, we'll stop all of our brews, we'll kill LM Studio. We will remove all of our applications. We will remove LM Studio from our application itself. All the files. We will remove Ollama. And we will remove it from our home files. And we will remove any unlinked files. Now, this is where you're going to start. You can see that these calls all come back to the same starting point. That means it's actually going through. So now what we're going to do is we are going to install Homebrew. Homebrew is essentially the core of what we use to run in the background to keep things updated. It handles everything that your computer is going to need to do moving forward, and that means you're not going to have to make manual updates to specific apps or third-party plugins that you would essentially have to spend time doing. That's the point of setting this up. So we have the shell set up, then we can hit update, and it will go through and add the updated list. Now we'll start to install some tools. And so some of these, because they didn't completely remove, you can see that they're already there. And then we'll install any of these. So essentially now what it's doing is going through and it's installing the repositories for each of these individual applications if I don't already have them. So you can see it purged the files because it found that the application it tried to install was already there. So it just kind of went through them because I've already done that. And then we'll make the code available via VS Terminal. So you can go through and set up your Visual Studio. This is essentially where you'll be able to see your code in real life and connect it to the AI so that it helps you fix any of the code issues that will come up with some of these applications. We'll also try Slack. There's Slack. So we know that it works. The next part is making sure that our structure is correct. And what I mean by that is we'll go through and ensure that each of these individual files are filing in the way that we want them to. So we have our core directory set up. So we'll start with the first one. And then we'll do the second one. And again, we'll be able to see that when you're doing it for the first time or the second time, you'll have essentially these two or these three and nothing else beneath them. Let's make sure that we're the owner still. Yep. And then we'll run this one. And then we'll go through and we'll start to install Ollama. So now we're starting to install the AIs. And now we'll point Ollama to all right. Now we started it. Now we'll point it to our folders. And now we'll test what versions we have. We have 11.8, and we'll list to see what ones we have. So we have 11.8, but there are no actual files under the Ollama list. So we're going to need to go back through and add these file directories, and we'll do that by jumping here, and we'll pull this one. Let's try this. Now let's see what we have. There we go. So now I'm just trying to make sure that the files for Ollama are pulling from here. Let's see. Okay, that's correct. Now hopefully pull up the list. Now let's try and pull some of these. see, list. So now we have, let's do these now. Cool. So now it's downloading all of the new registries and blobs because I had removed them before. That's what it was. So yours, because you're not going to be removing anything, you won't actually go through the same troubleshooting. You should be able to, let me actually change this. Just put these in and they'll go ahead and download like this. So when it pulls Llama 3, you'll test Llama 3 and then you can do the rest, as you go through it. So I was bouncing back and forth, but as this completes, then you'll be able to kind of go through, and like I had originally showed you, ask it any questions and it will go through and respond. So the next part is adding LM Studio. So you'll download LM Studio. It will come into your downloads. You'll open it up and drag it into your applications. You won't open it yet, but you will have it in your applications. Once you put it into your applications, then you'll go through and run this gatekeeper fix, and that'll allow the hard drive and your desktop to talk to each other, right? So you'll go ahead and run this first script, and I'll do that in a second. So now everything is done, and we will run the application again. So, where is it? And stay here. Okay. So we'll draw this first. And then, what is the best way to do this? And again, you can go through and, test all of them if you want to. So we'll get a new window open. So the next part is LM Studio. We've already downloaded it. We've dragged it into our applications. Now we're going to run these gatekeeper fixes. So the first one will go here. And then. So we need to download it and do that. So let's open. Drag over, and then we'll try it again. There you go, and then the second one. Cool, and now we will open LM Studio. So now we will get started. We will hit developer, continue. We'll download our first model, but in this scenario, we are actually not going to download the first model. we're going to skip it. And the reason for that is we're going to go into our models and we're going to change where the models go. So we want all of our models to come from LM Studio, right? So we go into LLM, we go into here, and then when we click models, we are just going to hit open. So it should look like this. Volumes, AI, LLM Studio, or LLM models, LLM Studio, and then models. That will open up all of these individual models, which have been stored to your hard drive, right? Remember we went through and we set up initially the folder structure so that we could get these models stored individually here. And with that, we now can go through and go into our chat. And I'm not sure, let's make sure that these models load. Alright, so write me some Python code. Alright, now let's try a different one. It's loading. Write me some Python code. See how each of the models is very different. So where do you find these models? How do you get them to auto update and things like that? So you'll be able to find all of your models here in your model search. You can also find them in repositories on GitHub. We usually search by most downloaded, and we download, each of the individual models that we want from here. They get then stored here. That's going to be the easiest and best way for you to do this. Finding them on GitHub sometimes is a little bit more tricky, but it can be done as well. The second part of this is setting it up so that it auto updates. So essentially what you'll do is you'll in the background you'll go ahead and you'll have this auto update code right here. So it's going to auto update, upgrade, and clean up any of the sorry. Let's see what. Alright, so let's see. There we go. So let me change that. And then we want to start the automatic updates. That's the next one. Perfect. And we will go through and check the status. Not configured. Alright, so now we'll update every 24 hours. And when you want it to stop, you will hit stop, just like that. Alright, so now that we have that set up, let's go ahead and check our space on our hard drive. So this is how much space each of these individual models are taking. We'll verify that Ollama is on our user. So right here, you can see it's on the AI drive. You can see here, right, same thing, AI drive, the blobs and manifest where they live. You can make sure that LM Studio is on our list. It's on our AI drives, right? Each of the repositories. You can sure that we have our Gemma lists, right? And then if we had any issues, server not responding, gatekeeper issues, these are just some troubleshooting stuff. So that should give you basically the down and dirty for how to get both Ollama and the LLMs from LLM Studio saved to your hard drive so that all the information is private and offline. Thanks.